Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel for this payday routine video. I'm going to take you guys along with me as I walk through my 3-step payday routine process to help myself overcome the scarcity mindset, basically trying to be intentional without becoming obsessive. If you're new here, hi, my name's Alice. I love to chat about money and show you a little bit about my life. So if that sounds interesting to you, don't forget to subscribe. I wasn't even going to really do payday routines this month because I did not realize that this month is a 3-paycheck month for my husband. My mind was like, we're flushed with cash. We don't need to do our payday routine. I was also gone on vacation earlier this month. I was just like, what if we just took a little break or something, which is not a bad thing. I love to do a budget cleanse every once in a while, especially as someone who struggles with money obsessiveness. But halfway through the month, we were like, any money we spent was too much. And that really is a sign to me that I need to check in with myself financially, look at the budget. Sometimes we think that budgeting is just to show ourselves what we're not allowed to spend, but I really see budgeting as something that shows us what we can spend. By not budgeting, I felt like we were overspending because I wasn't checking in with the budget. Let's get into this payday routine. The first step of my payday routine process is to input the income into the budget spreadsheet. And while I'm there, I need to update the budget spreadsheet with any transaction that's come in and out, like bills and expenses, getting paid back, paying for something, all those kind of things, just to make sure that everything is up to date. I found that the cadence of a few times a month updating the budget spreadsheet has been really good for us. And I actually did this last night because I was literally like, oh my gosh, everything is too much. Like every dollar we spend is $1 too much. And so I went and I was just feeling anxiety, money anxiety and all that kind of stuff. So I went back last night and I filled out the budget spreadsheet with our income and then also with all the transactions and expenses that had come out since I had last updated the budget spreadsheet. Step number 2 is to then go to the actual budget spreadsheet and modify it, adjust it to what's actually realistic. I love setting a budget at the very beginning of the month, but sometimes your budget that you set at the beginning of the month is not very relevant to the middle or to the end of the month. And so I find that if I'm more flexible with my budget, then I'm able to hit my financial goals better than if I weren't. And I was like holding myself accountable to a very unrealistic budget. Honestly, budgeting is a little bit of future telling and I'm not perfect at telling the future. If the number is set in stone for you, I have no issue with that. Just for me, it doesn't really work. So I also did that last night and changed quite a bit. I didn't realize that this month was going to be a 3-paycheck month for my husband. I didn't realize that he was getting a promotion this month. When I set the budget this month, I genuinely thought that there were no birthdays this month when there's actually quite a few. Realizing that I have to take more money out of savings for that, kind of changing the budget spreadsheet to really fit what is actually realistic. And that doesn't have to be a bad thing. Like it doesn't mean, okay, you overspent, like we have to change it. It just means maybe you have to like adjust things because the house is more expensive this month than you thought it was going to be, but you're going to spend less on pet care. I don't know if I've ever done a budget spreadsheet that was absolutely 100% phenomenally perfect. Let's go on to step 3, which is the bulk of today's video, where we are going to be breaking down our most recent paychecks, allocating them to where they need to go in the next 2 weeks. Doing this is so helpful to be intentional with our money. It just gives me like a really good snapshot without ever having to like live in the budget spreadsheet. Okay, anyways, let's get into that portion of today's video. Get a little drink of water from this. My sister made it. I think it is so cute. This is actually going to be a very exciting month for us. I had no idea that it was a 3-paycheck month. Sometimes things just slip my brain. My husband got a promotion, which we knew that he was going to get a promotion. We just never knew when it was going to hit. Let's start off with income. For income this next 2 weeks, that means our paychecks from our W-2 jobs, we're going to be bringing home $5,000, $5,018. I never know how to say like dollar amounts. Literally insane for us. I think even just last month, we were bringing home $4,689 from every single paycheck. So that promotion is definitely absolutely game-changing for us. If you ever read my journal, which hopefully you never do because like how would you get my journal? I love to talk about finances in my journal and I like made a table 12 months ago. How much was this costing or how much do we make and what is it now? And over the last 12 months, we have freed up over $2,000 in our month-to-month combination of making more and having lower fixed expenses. It's really grateful for this. Okay, so for rollover from the last pay period, we're going to be bringing over $343.11. For savings, we're going to bring out $400 over savings. So if you're new here, I am really trying to work on, if I say I'm going to use money from a sinking fund, to actually pull that money out of the savings sinking fund, because I find that I put myself in a difficult financial situation that's completely made up, completely fake, completely unnecessary, and I'm causing myself stress. I just want to show myself that like I can use my money to not be stressed out and I don't want to cause myself unnecessary stress. So we're going to be pulling $400 out for the road trip that we did. Well, it's not technically a road trip. I don't know about you guys. We drove from Utah to Oregon Oregon and we only stopped at gas stations, places to eat. To me, a road trip is where you drive like to multiple locations and the drive itself is the trip, but really we drove from Utah to Oregon, Oregon back to Utah. That doesn't really seem like a road trip to me, but I don't know what else to call it. And like all the spending that we did in Oregon. And then also we need to pull that money out for birthdays and celebrations again. I totally forgot that we had birthdays and celebrations to do in July. So bad at remembering birthdays. I'll even have them in my calendar, or the day before I'll be like, I know it's someone's birthday the next day, and then I just cannot remember to say happy birthday to them. I'm so bad at it. That's like my biggest challenge in life. And then business income, which goes directly into savings. So it's kind of like a 1-for-1 ratio. I never actually spend it. That is $138.85 from YouTube. All right. So that means that we're working with a total of $6,074.96 for the next 2 weeks, which is a lot of money. So I'm really happy about that. Okay, let's go on to bills. So usually all of our bills are very spread out throughout the month, but because of the way that these paychecks hit this month, we only had 2 bills come out, the first 2 paychecks, and everything else, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other bills are coming out at the end of this month. Normally it's not like that. Anyways, it just works out like that sometimes, which is totally okay. That's why we like to have the rollover from the previous payday. First off, we are going to pay our mortgage with this paycheck. That'll be $2,606. If you're new here, we refinanced a few months ago, and that's part of the reason why we have so much extra freed up money. Our mortgage used to be $3,222.88. I have that memorized. $2,600 is always going to be a lot of money to me, but to have a house, to have a yard, to have a stable housing expense, that's really good, especially because I feel like we live in a pretty good area in Utah. For water and trash, that's going to be $126.38. It's always the same, except for it did go up this year, but like that's fine. For life insurance, that's going to be $180.47, and that is term life insurance and disability insurance. I probably should rename it. I do get a fair number of comments thinking that this term life insurance is whole life insurance. You do your own research, but whole life insurance is not for me at all, and it probably never will be. I do not think it's the right thing. I keep getting messages from our life insurance company saying, you have an amazing opportunity, and then like open the envelope and it's like to turn your term life insurance policy into a whole life insurance policy. And I'm like, I don't want whole life insurance. Life insurance is super important to me as people who own an asset, who want to have kids, who would not be able to cover the asset on their own. I really feel like life insurance and disability insurance is super important, especially in America. Things are so expensive here. Canva will come out at $15. And then for power, I am going to budget $140. We are cranking that AC, you guys. It has been so hot, over 92 degrees for the last week. It has been so muggy. We had the biggest rainstorm yesterday. It was beautiful, but yeah, it's really hot here. And we also keep the back door open. Sometimes we try not to. Try is very loose. We keep it open a lot because we want our cats to be able to go in and out. Okay, the internet will be $45, and then our Apple subscriptions will be $10. This reminds me, my husband currently is looking for a new phone plan. So if you have a phone plan that is on the cheaper side but still works, I would say his current phone plan doesn't even work in our neighborhood or in where he works. The 2 places that he's the most, his phone plan doesn't work. So we honestly just want something that's good, that doesn't cost very much money. Moving on to expenses, we have groceries. I'm going to budget $250 for groceries for the rest of this month. For the next 2 weeks, we do have a good amount of food right now, but we're running out of some of the household stuff like toilet paper, which I really don't want to buy that anywhere else. But I was going to say Utah, which is true, but Costco has the best savings for toilet paper, but we don't really shop at Costco. We don't have a Costco membership or anything. So we're going to have to try and figure that out. But yeah, $250 should be pretty good. That should be one big grocery haul and then a small grocery haul. Usually get away with a few bigger grocery hauls every month and then 2 smaller ones just to get like produce and random stuff that we forgot. For tithing and donations, we're gonna budget $501.80. That is about 10% of our take-home pay. If you're new here, we donate or give a tithe of 10% of our income. Sometimes it is more depending on the opportunities that we see for donating and everything. It's a really important part of my financial strategy. I think living off of less than 90% of what you make is amazing. I feel a great sense of obligation to donate, which is wild because I'm not a very obligatory person, if that makes sense. I don't feel expectations or obligations very strongly. Donating is something that's really important to me. So I'm really happy that we're at the stage of life where we can make that a priority. For gas, I'm gonna budget $150. We were so lucky this month. My husband's job, the AC went out and it was like 85 to 90 degrees there. So he didn't have to work in the office and he has quite the long commute. He said that some of his coworkers went into the office and it was so hot that their fingerprints were like leaving sweat marks on the keyboard. That's how hot it was. And they said like, you don't have to work here. Like you can work from home, but some people prefer working in the office because probably like distractions and kids and all that kind of stuff. So he didn't have to go in, which is gonna definitely save us a lot of gas money. Yeah, I feel like we really lucked out on gas this month, but also because we went on the road trip, all the gas that we bought on our road trip is going to actually come out of our travel sinking fund. Plane tickets would go in the travel section, so gas also goes in the travel section as well. For miscellaneous overflow, I'm gonna budget $200. We haven't spent very much of our miscellaneous overflow this month. If you are new here or new to budgeting, I think that the miscellaneous overflow category is so incredibly important to financial peace. Again, I am not someone who can ever budget 100% accurate. Like it's just not gonna happen. I find that having some overflow money, when we do inevitably spend more on some of the categories than we want to, we have that money there and I don't have to be stressed out like saying, oh, we only have $7 left of our grocery budget. No, I can still spend money on groceries and it can come from the overflow categories. Huge fan of that. I know it can be kind of frustrating. You just want to get better and be perfect at budgeting, but like I genuinely don't think it's possible. I mean, maybe it is. I don't know. Olympic budgeters maybe, but I'm an amateur. Pro-am. And then the last thing that we're gonna do for expenses is house and yard. You guys, the house and yard fund, get a lot of use out of that bad boy. So I'm gonna budget $50 for that. We need just a few random things for our house. I feel like in the summertime, there are endless amounts of fertilizer and weed killer, bottle of all that kind of stuff. It's kind of expensive. We have a lot of bugs where we live, which is not great. So we bought like a bug zapper and then we also had to buy stuff to kill bugs because when I water our lawn, literally a plume of gnats or mosquitoes, I don't quite know what they are. I feel like they're gnats, just like comes out of our garden and it's horrible. So we just have the bug zapper. I'll let you guys know how that goes. Hopefully it works really well. It has provided unlimited entertainment for my cats. Hazel just lays by the back door and watches that bug zapper and it is so loud and so crazy that we actually have to turn it off at 10 p.m. because I'm worried that it's gonna keep the neighbors up or something. It is going off like 1,000 lightning bolts a minute. It is insane. Okay, for guilt-free spending, we are going to do $75 for eating out. We honestly haven't eaten out a ton this month, and when we did eat out, like when we were in Oregon, that came out of our travel sinking fund. For clothing, I'm gonna budget negative $50. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but I'm gonna do a return. I bought like $115 worth of clothing. I bought dresses that have a really snatched waist, and so even if you buy like a small, medium, large, extra small, whatever you wear, sometimes the shape of the clothing like doesn't work, and so I bought my normal size, but it was like a super snatched waist. I don't really have a snatched waist. I'm more like planky, you know? So they didn't fit for me, but I'm gonna try and see if I can exchange one of the dresses for a bigger size, so maybe the snatched part. But then sometimes like the top part is so big. Like I've had that happen with multiple shirts. So anyways, I'll keep you guys updated, but that'll either be negative $50 or negative $100. We'll be getting paid back for that. For golf, I'm gonna budget $60. Hopefully my husband can play a couple rounds of golf. That will be super fun. The weather is super hot. He'll have to go in the morning, but I mean, it's summertime. It's not snowing. It's better than snow, you know? For splurge, I'm gonna budget $200. We don't have $200 in our splurge fund for the actual monthly budget, but that's part of being intentional, is that I want to make sure that we are moving around our money to fit actually what we want to do in our life. $200, that's because we have family coming into town. I don't quite know exactly what we're gonna do, but I know we're gonna probably buy a ticket to Lagoon, and I want to do some fun stuff. Like recently I went and got a facial with my work and it was so fun, a Korean facial. It felt amazing. My skin was glowing, like so hydrated. Do things, get ice cream, eat out, you know, the works. So I'm really excited about that. And then for dates, I'm gonna budget $100. I feel like my husband and I have been spending a lot of time together, but I feel like I want to get back into the actual like going on out of house dates that are like, I feel like there's going on dates and then there's going on a date where you say it's a date. So we want to do a date where we just go to the like downtown area of our city and then just look at all the little shops, you know, buy a little bit here, a little bit there. I think that's going to be really fun. For celebrations, I'm going to budget $130. That is going to be to take out one of our in-laws to a nice dinner. We're going to be going to Maggleby's, which I had Maggleby's a few years ago when our friends got married, and that was where their pre-wedding luncheon was. It was so good. I am super excited to go there. So yeah, we need to make a reservation though. I will not go to a restaurant if you cannot make a reservation. I'm not really good at being hungry, if that makes sense. I'm not super nice when I'm hungry, and so to go somewhere and wait in line for 45 minutes or an hour, like I can't. Like there's a place here called True Religion. Some of the best breakfast food that I have ever had. They don't take reservations, so I will never go there again. I'm sure there's more of us out there who feel that way. I just don't do well hungry. Okay, and then we are on the last section, which is saving and investing. So if you're new here, not all paychecks are spent equally. The ones at the beginning of the month usually go more towards saving and investing, while the ones at the end of the month go more towards bills and expenses, especially because our mortgage comes out at the very end of the month. But because we have the 3 paycheck month, along with my husband getting a promotion, which is super awesome, really proud of him, we are going to save a little bit of these paychecks, and then we're going to treat the paycheck at the very end of the month, the sole single paycheck that my husband's getting at the end of the month, we're going to put that 100% 20% into savings because we ended up buying my husband a FIFA World Cup ticket that cost about $3,000 from our emergency fund. So we want to make sure that we can just fill that right back up. I feel like we're at a really good place right now where our margin, our monthly margin for our finances is super good, that we can take opportunities like that. Once in a lifetime opportunities where America went further than they normally do, and they were playing in Seattle where we were going to be, like in Portland. So I'm really happy we took that opportunity. And then I'm also super grateful and I feel so lucky that we did that. And then the very next month, we're able to just replenish the emergency fund as if we never bought it before. So for the emergency fund, we're going to put $500 of this paycheck into that. And then for the Roth IRA, we're going to put $576. And that is just us maxing out our Roth IRA over the course of the year, divided up weekly. And then for business savings, I'm going to put that $138.85 into there. I've decided to go with the 1-to-1 ratio of like the money I make from my business, the money I'm going to put into business savings for taxes, because I feel like so many people talk about when you have a small business or something, the taxes are absolutely horrible and complicated. And I just don't want to get into that this year. So I'm going to just keep everything there. Thankfully, we don't have to live off of that money, because then I feel like I would be just so confused. And hopefully everything is smooth sailing by the time taxes come around next year. Okay, so that leaves us with a total of $70.46 going into the next pay cycle. Technically the next month, but I guess because we're getting that very last paycheck, I don't really know. All I know is that it's really hard to be specific and picky when it comes to your finances when it's a 3 paycheck month. Temporary. Like, I know it's not long lasting. Like, we're not always going to make an extra few grand a month, but 3 paycheck month, you guys, literally flush with cash. Okay, thank you guys so much for joining me today on my payday routine. I hope that this really helped serve as motivation or inspiration for you to be more intentional and not be as obsessive with money. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.